Hi, I have been asked to do a few videos on ornamentation. So ornamentation is when you have a tune and you're adding little embellished bits to that tune just to make it a little bit more interesting and to take it maybe from beginner up to intermediate or intermediate up to advanced and so on and so forth as you get more used to using those ornaments. So one of the most common ornaments that we use in Irish traditional music for tin whistle is called the roll. And the roll is an ornament that we play over 3 notes. So if you have, for example, 3 G's in a row or 3 F's or 3 E's in a row, instead of playing the 3 notes singular, so G, 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 we use this roll just to jazz it up a little bit. So for example, if I was to play the phrase B-A-G-G-G, instead of playing G-G-G, I'm going to play a roll. Okay, actually this phrase opens up a lot of popular tunes, so instead of playing, my fingers just automatically move these days, so it's actually hard for me not to do the roll. So yeah, if I was to open that like versus, you can hear it yourself. So that is the roll, and to do a roll you need 3 components. I'm going to do it on a G to begin with, just to learn it. So the first note is the G itself, then you're going to quickly and sharply lift up that G. We call that a cut. We're going to cut the note in the middle, and then we're going to use the note below to tap. This is a tap, okay? So a note, cut, tap, and then that is the 3 components of the roll. So instead of playing G, 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 we're going to go note, note, cut, tap, note, cut, tap. So, and it's really important to have your fingers nice and sharp, or to play your fingers really, really sharply. So think of an elastic band. Whenever you're lifting up, you don't want it to be too loose. They would be separate notes, each of those. You want it to be really, really like sharp. So if I was to flick my finger out, it's almost like coming straight back in, like an elastic band. So very sharp, G, cut, tap. And that is your roll on the G note. So practice speeding that up, the more familiar you get with it. Then on any of the notes below G, here's exactly the same thing. So for 3 F's, we're doing no cut tap. However, the cut for any of these lower octave notes also happens on the G, okay? So you don't cut on the same note, you cut on the G finger still, and then you tap below it. So F is F, cut, tap. That is your F roll. And then we're going to have an E roll, which is E, cut, tap, E, cut, tap. And that should be. And it's important to be really sharp with those fingers. Just practice to makes perfect on this one. You can't have a roll on a bottom D. We do play a different ornament there, but I'll not get into that in this lesson. So bottom D, obviously we can't play a roll here because we don't have a note to tap on. Okay, so we have G roll, F roll, E roll. Then we need B and A. So it's the same principle, just the fingers are going to change. We have B, cut, and then tap on the A finger below it. So this one's a bit tricky, so it just takes a wee while to master it. So B, cut, tap, B, cut, tap, nice and sharp. And then same thing, we are doing an A roll. So it's an A note, and then it's a cut, and then a tap. A, cut, tap. And that is your rolls the whole way down the scale. So if I do it, just want to make sure you can see me here. So have it. That is your roll ornaments the whole way down the scale, and you can use that to embellish your tunes anytime that you have 3 notes that are the same together. Yeah, pause the video, take your time. It is a tricky one to master, so don't be too tough on yourself, but the secret really is to sharpen those fingers. Think of your fingers like an elastic band, and they're snapping back on. As soon as you lift them up, they're snapping back onto the hole. That should hopefully help. And just, stick with one of those, with one note, and just play the roll over and over and over again, then go on to the next until you're really, really happy with that rhythm. And then have fun trying to stick it into tunes. So thanks so much for listening to this video. I hope it has helped. And yeah, give it a wee thumbs up, give it a like. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, or let me know in the comments below if there's anything more that I can help with, or any other free video tutorials that you would like to see in the future. So thanks so much for listening, and have a nice one. Bye.